Hello, and welcome to Asian Pacific Voices Radio, where you'll find stimulating conversations that explore diverse topics and stories impacting our communities. I'm your host, Rasha Goel, and can I just say, where has our season gone? In today's season 3 finale, I am so thrilled to welcome a remarkable power couple who are making a significant mark in the entertainment industry. Joining us is a versatile actor whose inspiring journey from Indian television to global recognition has captivated millions, with his incredibly talented wife, who is a producer, director, and creative powerhouse behind the scenes. Now, together, they are creating magic both on and off the screen, weaving in captivating narratives that resonate with audiences worldwide. Please join me in welcoming Amit Sarin and Vineesha Arora-Sarin. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you both on Asian Pacific Voices Radio. Welcome, guys.
Absolute pleasure to see you and talk to you. Rasha, thanks for that introduction, which sounded like, oh my God, what have we done?
Both of you have been creating some magic. I'm going to start with you because your journey is quite interesting. Walk us a little through the transition. You studied as an engineer, went into the entertainment industry, starting in Indian cinema back in India, and you were an actor and model. So what inspired you to make this shift? And if you could share some notable experiences in your early days.
Oh, wow. So you took me back from where it all started. Uh, well, engineering was something which my late mom wanted me to be. My heart was always in, I guess, in acting and modeling and stuff like that. So when I said to my dad that, I want to pursue that, so he said, there's only one thing I would ask from you. Luckily, I had those grades that I can go into the engineering college, and so I did my engineering, but deep within it was just like, by towards my last year, I was just honing when am I going to go to the, Mumbai, get my, photo shoot, headshots, and get into the action. Anyway, that's how the journey started. The moment I finished my engineering, I was straight bang on into Mumbai, the entertainment hub. Then I moved to, doing a lot of theaters, street plays, performing in any nook and corner houses. Yeah, I mean, street plays, it used to be called. Did theater for a long time. Ran into a lot of auditions, was preparing myself, like going for dancing classes, going for, all the kind of thing. Because I knew nothing about how this all is done. Only thing was that, the confidence of being an engineer somewhere, because it preps you in a way. And then, just the sheer hunger and desire to be an actor. And in retrospection, when I used to look back and everybody used to say you're so lucky, and how, though it took me 7 years, I was getting little breaks here and there on TV and modeling and stuff, but big break came from, Kusum, the show on Sony. It was #1 show. I didn't even realize it. Like the next day, I was just moving in the market, and I was like kind of, mobbed in a way. And that was my first, I would say, a glimpse to stardom, what it does, and TV being lucky that I was in the part of the. I mean, I was in the era where it was a golden era of the TV, So the characters, the shows stuck with people for 7 years, 6 years. Imagine I'm seeing your face for 6 years nonstop.
I'm going to interject really quick, though, Amit. I have to share with my listeners and my viewers that I used to watch that show, Kusum, that he's talking about. So imagine that was all the way in India, but as an Indian American here, my family and I used to watch that. So it's kind of cool in retrospect. And I want to talk to you. There's Kusum, there's Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. These were groundbreaking serials on Indian television. And for those of you that are listening to or watching our conversation right now, I mean, I when I say groundbreaking, they really broke the mold all across. And we're not just speaking of in India, but even internationally. So how did these roles really impact your personal life and your career?
In short, if I have to say, I'm still reaping benefits of to be part of those shows. And as you rightly said, the TRPs, I mean, it was internationally popular. The shows were like, I used to come to US, and like I used to go to, I was in London. I remember first time I was sitting in McDonald's, and I mean, like casual. I mean, who would talk, who would know me here or something? Not that it was casual. A few people approached me, and I said, "Oh, what's happening here?" So it was just that kind of exposure that, it seeps in you slowly. And those shows, like,
I think when that travels, you was really international.
yeah, the ratings of those shows were like humongous. Every house had a conversation about Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. So, and if you're part of that kind of show, I cannot, I mean, only in hindsight, when you look back, you can actually, figure what happened, how it happened. But yes, I was lucky. And I still remember the very first day. I was swimming and I get a call, and I come out and I get a call. They said, Ekta ma'am wants you in Kyunki from tomorrow. I said, what? That's how it happened, Kyunki, for me, because of the Kusum, the popularity and stuff. And the first day I'm shooting, so my co-actor Shubha said, something. I said, what? No, great that you're doing Kusum. Now you're in Kyunki. You see how your life is going to change. I said, what do you mean? Honestly, I so clearly, vividly remember that. And I said, okay. And I sat down. And for me, she was a bigger actor. And I said, okay, yes. And and I started journey. And as you said, it was no looking back, in the sense, it's just phenomenal.
I mean, and here you are, Chin. I want to mention when he says Ekta, he's referring to Ekta Kapoor, who is a mogul out in the Indian entertainment industry as a producer director. It's like she's one of the places you want to be working with. I'm going to share a really, really 20-second quick story, by the way, when Amit talks about people recognizing him. So we are friends now at this point, Amit, Vineesha, and I. And I do want to mention I was originally invited to their home. And as you all know, I interview a lot of celebrities, or I've worked in this business for a long time. But I tell you, when the person invited me to their home for the first time, I said, Amit Sarin, that star from India, that's whose house you're inviting me to. And it was this moment of like, oh wow, I'm getting to meet this person here. So it's really interesting that you share that story, because I even had that moment of when I first met you too.
You put me on spot. I don't know what to say.
No, it's been such a pleasure. And I'm going to jump to Vineesha, of course, because Vineesha, you balance so many different hats. And I want to talk about your production company first, Lady with a Hat Productions. How did you decide to come up with this company? And talk to us about the filming of your movies, because you've been shooting on an iPhone. And what led you to that creative endeavor?
I was in India. Also, I started my journey as an actor, and that's how we kind of met. But I knew in the back of my head, at least around circa 2005, that I wanted to get behind the camera. There was just so much of life that was happening, and I did move to production in India. But here, we came in 2018, and a year into it, we were hit with a pandemic. So the pandemic gave me a resolve of some sort, and I said, I have to get into directing like full time. That's my love, that's my passion. So that's when I said, we don't need tools, we don't need anything. We can tell our stories because we have this thing in our hand perpetually called a smartphone. And I really didn't think. I didn't think and plan, and I did not, buy the extra, the gears that we need for the iPhone. I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to say a message. And I remember we were on a trip in India, his hometown Varanasi, and I just wanted to share a message with the world on caste, religion, or whatever. And I said, I have to just do it. Took out my phone and it just started filming randomly. I put that together and I started sending it to a couple of my friends. And one of those friends said, why aren't you taking this to film festivals? This is a great message. And that's when I realized, I said, maybe I should. Is this how I'm going to turn director? And then I did. And then lo and behold, we won like so many awards with that short film. It was a 3-minute film called Come Back to Me, which now is on my Lady with a Hat YouTube channel. 'Cause short films don't really have a vent. You could, it's just something you play with, and you hope that someone sees your work somewhere. Something else happened, and then I made another short film because we were all, remember, in lockdown at this time, and there was just nothing going on. But I had to create. I had to do something. Let my creative juices flow. And then there was another competition I heard of, which wanted a 2-minute comic film on the pandemic. So I was like, oh, this sounds fun. I was toying with an idea at the time where I wanted to, film with shoes. And I thought, a shoe can tell a lot of story about a person and character. And I was kind of going into that. And then we took a pair of shoes, put them under the bed, and I actually put voiceovers on them, and that became a film. Um, and because the shoes were talking like, when are we going to get to go out again? It's like, what's going on in this world? So it became a bit of a fun, philosophical kind of a message again. It kind of became my style where I wanted to say some things, but I wanted to say it in a light way. And that just moved into a feature because, again, we were still in the lockdown for a long time, and I was just flowing with, this new experiment called the phone filmmaking. And then again, unplanned, unscripted, we went on a family road trip in June 2020, peak of the lockdown. And I had an actor beside me driving.
So did you just throw the actor in and say, I'm making the movie and we're going to do this now?
At the time, we had a really big incident that had happened that was affecting me a lot mentally. It was the death of a very, close colleague of even Amit's and ours, Sushant Singh. He had committed suicide, and that became national news.
I mean,
and it kind of leaked
it's
over
not known
here.
whether he committed suicide or not, but yeah, we lost him.
That was looming large over my head. And then the whole lockdown and all the deaths that I'd been seeing in New York, which is my home city, and like a lot of that. And I thought people might be really struggling with their mental health. And I just wanted to, again, just tell something. I just wanted to say a message about that. And I didn't know what at the time, because again, I didn't have a script or a plan or an idea. But I did know that I wanted to say something, and I saw something out there while on these road trips in nature. And I thought, this is so healing. And I have to share this healing process with people, that things do get better, that life does journey on, and things do change. So if you could just give yourself the time and space and the self-love to forgive yourself, to forgive others, and to move on and to appreciate this beauty called life. So all these things were coming to me, and then, I just randomly started shooting videos of his that...
I will say two things very quickly. First time, so
he loves to take pot shots at that.
No, we were in Salt Lake City. I was having a watch, gadgets, and stuff. She just goes to a place, beautiful place, location with a lot of boats, yachts, and stuff. She says, I want you to break down here and just try. I said, what? Where are you coming from? I'm like, fine, that goes at home. You can do all that there, but no, why here?
I tell you that.
So I broke down, and my kids were there with me. And I came back, and we sat in car.
They were shell-shocked.
I didn't realize. I broke down, and I came in the car, and it was still reeling in, and my kids saw and said, Dad, are you okay? I said, yeah. But still, the physicalities were saying something else. That was first part. Anyway,
I gotta say, but that was the moment where I knew that he could do this and I could do this. So I was getting prepared.
But I didn't know. I'll tell you where I was ready.
I knew at that moment that he could
improv.
Yeah. That I was just following what a wife is asking you to do without putting any head.
Oh, so
but
you
then one day, one day, I think next day or 2-3 days later, 2-3 days later, and in between she was asking me to do things, and I was doing okay. I knew what exactly to be done, knowing her for 20 years, what she's thinking. So she woke up first thing, and she really shook me up. She said, I know what we're doing. I got it all sorted. She said, what is it? I have to say very seriously, what is it? So she said, this is a story about a man who loses his wife and kid and goes on a road trip to kill himself, and how nature heals him and maybe shows him
the life.
That's I so clearly remember, and I saw it. Knowing her, she has the whole film in her. And to her being modest earlier when she said I was toying with this, that no, it was 18 years of prep in a way. My definition of luck, when people say that you're lucky, I just preparation meets the opportunity is called luck. So somewhere she was prepping, knowing her creative history and knowing how creatively she thinks, when she told me that one line, trust me, I was taking her so seriously as a director that anytime whatever she said, I know exactly. So for me, it never appeared that I'm shooting on an iPhone or XYZ. No, it was that scene or something she is telling me. And imagine we finished the whole film, and then she went to create a story around it. I know I would not say I was torn at all. I didn't know what
You were
this.
in character.
Vineesha, could you share the name of the film again and where perhaps our listeners or viewers can watch it?
Surely, it's called Between Mountains because the character is actually between two different states of life and death, and that's why the metaphor between mountains. So yes, you can catch that on Tubi, on Amazon, and other streaming platforms. It's on a few.
Yeah, guys, watch it. It's a beautiful film which will tell you how, I mean,
Yeah.
how nature can be. Nature is like a
Can really
guide.
heal.
If you look at that as our guide.
Because of that, that inspired me to do, because I got into it so much as a storyteller. I started doing these interviews with people who had lost loved ones. I started doing Let's Talk About It. It's all on my YouTube channel, Lady with a Hat, where I started, just really getting into this, to know this character, to understand him more. Because remember, I don't have a script right now. So I had to film this as I went. So I had to feel the emotion. I had to see what I wanted to do, what journey I wanted to take. We took 2 more road trips to finish the movie.
But I love how you just, get this inclination to do something and you trust it and you follow it. And you mentioned mental health. I do want to ask you this because especially in celebrating another woman, as you're a mother to 2, you're also in the entertainment industry. You're married to an actor who's in the entertainment industry. You're constantly surrounded by this. How do you balance your life with your professional work and personal? Like, are there any particular strategies or how do you bring yourself to sanity?
Well, I do work a lot and I work hard. So being a mother, you're right, it's hard work. It is the hardest work ever. And filmmaking is another hard job, right? But being a Libran, I think that helps me naturally create a balance because I'm always striving for balance. So yeah, when the kids are home, I'm all about the kids. Because they go to school, I have this life that I have when they're in school or before school and then after school. So I have my creative juices flowing around then and I work around, their schedule and mine. And like I said, I have to work longer hours to meet that.
And speaking of balance, I don't know how you both manage this, but Amit, you also have your own production company, Blessed Films. So are there specific genres or themes that you like to tackle through this company? How do you prioritize what you're going to invest your time in?
First, being an actor, that's my first love. But I think very close, what comes very close to that is bringing some stories to life. It's an amazing process, beautiful process. And I think with one of the film which we started was supposed to be the first one. It's about tigers, and
Tiger coaching.
you know about that. But so that's the film. Basically, it's a jewel of India, but to be said on a global platform. That's something which when people knew back in India that this is what I'm doing, so they found it amusing in the sense, oh, so here is Indians who go to Hollywood to bring the cast and the crew to come back to shoot in India, but it's a global story. So they thought no one has done that kind of thing. There were filmmakers from Europe and stuff who have come made beautiful films like Slumdog Millionaire or many other films, but it's not that kind of reverse engineering where Indians coming to have the global talent to bring them to India to shoot, and that too about a jewel of India, which is Bengal tigers, and then the story is global, international. So yes, I mean going forward, I would like to produce films which has international resonance, but there is some element of maybe Indianness to it because I love our culture. I love there's so many beautiful things about our either the culture or our I would say
stories,
sensibilities,
our
the spirituality and the way we live our lives. If any of those elements can be significant in some way, but on an international platform. That's what I'm hoping and aiming to.
I love that. And I have to say, I think both of you have done such a beautiful job of also preserving the culture and celebrating cultural festivities, because I think especially when we are immigrants or we come from families of immigrants, it is just so important to keep that part of our culture while we're trying to integrate into the American community. And so it's you find a great way to balance that. I of course have to ask you, it's Halloween time, and Natty Knocks, a film that you both were executive producing, and Amit, you are also in the film. That's a recent horror film, a genre that's not really tapped into by a lot of South Asians, I can say at this time. I know it's being explored, but talk to me about this film, because you had some very well-known talent in there, like William Mosley and Robert Englund, who we all know as Freddy Krueger. So what inspired the creation of this particular film, and what was it like to work with those actors? I can start off with you, Vineesha.
Well, this movie was like like a gift to us again in the pandemic. I think we did our creative best during this time that, we planned something else and then we did something else, but then we took that route because, I don't know, it makes sense, or, we believed in something. And this was mostly headed by him. And, our relationship with Dwight was really good. We had signed him for another project. And so, they'd come up with a project and said, well, we have this story, and it's a small town horror story. And that's something that would you like to get in on? And then, he brought the story to me, and then we both read it. And then, he was like all gung ho over it. It's like, let's get into it. Do you want to do it? And I'm like, well, whatever you want to do. And then that's how it happened. But I'll give it to him, because that's something that he was really leading on.
Yes, talk to us about your experience both as an actor and an EP on this film.
Well, so in one of the conversation, obviously I think pandemic was that we all individually, in entire world, we were just figuring out what next and how we maneuver our life to different stage, because we all were going through this whole. We have not gone in. I think none of us as a generation has ever seen something like this kind of pandemic, right? So, I mean, during that process, me and Dwight were having a conversation, and he brought about Natty, and I loved what I loved about the film, that it had a universe which is very kid centric, and at the same time it had a teenage aspect to it, and yet it kind of connected to little older generations as well. So A, to have that, B, it had little feeling of Stranger Things kind of feeling, where you're going back to old school of, like, small towns, the feeling, the characters of small towns, so, and then the young cast kind of represented today thing. So I think when I saw that those three threads were so well aligning, and then experience of Dwight, as in having been the director and our partner, having the experience of Halloween 4, and the way he was thinking of this film to go about it, it was really convincing. And I didn't have to think too much. I said, let's do it. And then
this director we love, and
we were on
admire.
board on that, and now it's out there. Yes, we hit a storm of strike, but the point is, see, I mean, once you have a film, it has its own journey, it has its own destiny. You don't know what, you cannot control that. Neither we thought there will be a strike right when we are about to release the film. We knew that we are heading into a storm, but it is what it is. Whether we land up which side of the storm, you don't know. Whether it'll be a beautiful island, or it'll be like somewhere in the middle of the sea.
We've braved the pandemic. We're braving the strikes.
It was such a challenging time, and then to be releasing a film. I do want to ask either one of you to maybe elaborate too on the specific psychological themes or the elements that were explored in the film in Natty Knocks, considering that the genre's tendency is to delve into the intricacies of the human mind. So if you could just talk a little bit about that. I mean, I know you talked about the 3 different generations.
So I'll say 2 things. A, even to endeavor post-pandemic, anything, it's not, it was never an easy journey. The whole world was upside down, the whole COVID restrictions, travel ban. So we didn't know how we're going to approach this film with so much of thing. The money should go into the film rather than going into the things which we were doing back at that time. I mean, almost a year and a half back. So it was very challenging, tough, nerve-wracking in many respects. There was so much up in the on the stake, but we decided to keep moving on. One feet in front of the other, one feet another in front of the other. That's what the whole approach was. And going to the thriller, psychological thriller. I mean, we all were going through issues psychologically, which was all so prevalent around us. I mean, we were meeting people who were asking questions, which was so psychologically, unstable. And here we saw, obviously, we needed to be, not a preachy or rather like, it's a commercial film. We thought it's an interesting angle to see how, human minds can, create a world which can be devastating in so many respects, and then how sometimes the little energy of kids can break that, the whole psychological world you have created, which is actually not good. So that's the element which I personally thought, and again, one of the reasons that I liked it.
Well, I have just a few minutes left. So, and this film can be watched on Amazon Prime, correct?
Prime, Apple TV, Tubi. We just released 400 screens in Mexico. We are going into the world. We're going to Germany, UAE. So yeah, we are expanding ourselves.
Natty's going international.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Congratulations! And like I was mentioning, it's just wonderful to see South Asian creative artists and talent to be part of this genre. Right? I hope that we start seeing more in this particular genre because it is a fun genre to explore. Vineesha, I do want to ask you too, before you wrap up here, about your organization called WISE. I don't know how you have time to manage all of this, but you've also created this nonprofit to help women. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of things in my life have just happened spontaneously, as now you've heard. So this was another thing that kind of fell into my lap come circa March this year, when I had a couple of friends who were nominated for the Oscars this year in the documentaries. And I said, well, the treatment that they were getting from the big studios, and I'm not going to name any, but I'm just saying that it just wasn't at par with what you would do for an Oscar nominee. Like, I know what goes on behind the scenes, because now I've seen a lot of friends who are nominated and just want to show their movies out to people to, they just weren't getting the right outlet or the right support, I felt. And there came an idea, a WISE idea. And it actually stands for Women in Showbiz Everywhere, everywhere meaning global. So it's a global collaborative platform, which covers the entire spectrum of entertainment. So if you're into music, dance, acting, producing, filming, if you're a DOP editor, if you are female, and all kinds of female, we have a support system for you. So this is what WISE is. And we want to amplify them. We want to celebrate these voices, and we want to be able to advocate for them. That's what WISE is.
How beautiful. And is there a website, or where can people find out more information about WISE?
For sure. It's wiseonline.org. You can read about all our beautiful fall programs that are coming up and starting up. We have an upcoming showcase at the USC soon, which we're excited to announce. We have a gala coming up. We've done some amazing events this year already, which you could see. So get on board if you are a woman in showbiz and join the org.
Oh, that's incredible, Vineesha. Thank you for sharing that. As we close out here for both of you, any particular projects or something you want to share with us that we can look out for?
Now, at this point in time, support, give love to Natty Knocks, spread the word. And also, since Between Mountain also got released just last year, so watch these two films completely. One, the ray of hope, life to the horror. So.
Yeah, we have some interesting things on the lineup. There's a TV series that I've come here to make that we like. This was my dream since 2003. After meeting the great Al Pacino, I got inspired to write this TV series.
Well, we wish you so much love and success. And it's been so wonderful speaking to you both and hearing about your journey. Where can people find you, Amit?
So I am on social media on Instagram, Amit Sarin official. Go there, but don't go there.
Hey, you're focused on your work, so we get that. And that's AmitSarin official, correct? Okay.
Yes.
And Vineesha, how about you? Where can people find you or your work?
I'm on socials as well. Vineesha on Instagram, and then wise_women's.org on Instagram as well, and across other platforms.
I would like to once again thank Amit Sarin and Vineesha Arora-Sarin for joining us on today's show. Thank you both for being here.
Well, Raja, it's been wonderful, a pleasure. Keep smiling the way you have a beautiful heart. The way you spread, you're willing and ready to help the community.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. I mean, we cannot reach where we want to. All of us without support of each other. That's what I firmly believe, and we were having that conversation.
Yes, thank you, and I absolutely believe in that. So it's all of us coming together to unite for these causes. And for also my listeners and viewers, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any suggestions for future guests, any topics, or even any questions, please do join me for our new season, new shows coming to you in the new year. And don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. Once again, this podcast is produced by Asian Culture and Media Alliance. Asian Pacific Voices Radio is made possible through the generous impact grant provided by the California Arts Council, whose mission of nurturing arts, culture, and creative expression aligns seamlessly with our endeavor to cultivate a better, more inclusive California for everyone. So if you'd like to support our program, please do visit us at AsianPacificVoicesRadio.com. It has been such a pleasure of mine to be on this journey with all of you this season. Please do not forget to come back and join us in February 2024 for another exciting and thought-provoking edition of Asian Pacific Voices Radio podcast. Until then, please be safe, everyone. Take care. Have a happy holidays. And I'm going to say I'm going to miss you all, but I will be back.